I've approached over 3,000 women on the street, cold, sober, during the daylight. This might sound like a big number, but if you think about it, that's maybe over 5 years, and on average, that's about 1 or 2 girls per day. So very manageable if you set the intention to be more social, to be more outgoing. Despite that, most men will never do it even once or more than 10 times in their entire life. Most men just don't have the courage. They don't take that step. They would maybe do it drunk, right? They need to get drunk, get hammered before having enough confidence to walking over to a girl and doing some weird form of approach. And even then, it's often indirect. They're asking about something of, have I met you before? Or do you know where the toilet is? Or can I have a cigarette? Really difficult for 99% of men to put their intentions out there, to be honest and real and direct. And because it's so hard, I truly believe it is one of the skills that separate men into 2 categories. The ones that will be successful, that make something out of their life, that live up to their potential, and the ones who don't, the ones who stay behind, who stay in their comfort zone and just constantly, admire the guys who made it, or are grumpy about it, are salty about it, become reactive, or blame outside circumstances for their shortcomings. Because at the end of the day, cold approach is not just about getting numbers and going on dates. It teaches you so many important life lessons and teaches you to take risks, to become socially free and gain confidence and earn communication skills, right? It's even just the understanding that you are not just born a natural alpha or you're born a nerd who is just shy. It teaches you can take action. You can transform your life if you put effort onto it. You realize it's possible. And if you suddenly, approach a bunch of girls, you get some numbers and you end up in bed with a girl, you also think, what else can I do? What else can I make out of my life? What else can I manifest? How else can I outreach? Can I manifest business partners or other lovers or sexual experiences or insane ideas or freaky, crazy experiences into my life? And the answer then always becomes more yes than no, because you keep proving to yourself it's possible if you focus on it and if you take action. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you about the 3 steps that helped me finally take ownership of my life, and my goal is that you learn from it and you can take ownership and start transforming your life today. Part 1, my day game awakening. All of my teens, I grew up thinking the only way to meet women was either getting introduced to them from a friend at a party, if you're lucky, or you get drunk and you go to a bar and you do it yourself. But I was unable to do that, basically. Didn't really help that I spent most of my teens in a very male-dominant school, studying electrical engineering and so on. So it took a YouTube video to make me realize it's even possible, right? I had no concept of street approach in that sense. I went on YouTube, I saw guys like James Marshall, Sasha Daygame, the old school guys approaching on the street, and then also telling in other videos how they're introverts and how they learned that skill by doing it and analyzing their own approaches. And I was so inspired. I was like, wow. Like a new door opened, right? It's like I can go finally through a new door and there's a path for me as an introvert to not get drunk, to not feel hungover the next day, to not feel shit about myself, to not go to clubs that I don't even go to. I can just be myself, be my introverted self, go out, say hi, and things will happen. That was revolutionary for me. I was super excited to try it out. I downloaded some guides. That was kind of when the first roadblock happened as well. I basically realized it's not that easy. It is hard. There is a lot of internal trauma I have to overcome first. I don't know why I'm so shy, and it really pissed me off back then, but clearly I needed help. I think most men do realize this at some point, right? Some are born naturals, or they're born into a family where there's a lot of socializing going on, or it's just culturally different, right? I mean, guys from Brazil and even France, they're in general more open. Latin cultures are just more touchy, more open, more communicative. But me as an Austrian, that's just not happening. So a lot of guys realize at some point in their life, I'm a bit too introverted, I'm a bit too shy, I have approach anxiety, and they choose kind of their own path out of it. Most guys choose the path of, I'll just become really successful and I'll make a lot of money and then it will all work out, right? Once I have the car, once I have the status of the job, being the boss, women will just kind of like show up, right? Like I'll just book a table, and then they will see me on the table and come from the dance floor to get a shot of vodka, and then I will be automatically really charming at the same time, and then I'll sleep with them. No, that's not how it works. And I'm joking here, but it's incredible how long guys would delay starting to work on their charisma, work on their seduction skills, work on just overcoming this fear of approaching. They spend years and decades working on their career, which is not a bad thing. I'm working on my career. Working on your career is amazing. As a man, you should, build a certain level of financial freedom and wealth and security. That's all great. But you can at the same time work on your charisma and approach. And it's ridiculous to use the one to ignore the other. Because think about it, girls are not attracted to money. Girls are attracted to a guy who's confident, who's in power, who owns his life, who knows what he's doing, who can seduce girls. And seduce means can put pressure on them, can release pressure, can be really gentle, but also can be really firm, can them well, and so on. And obviously some successful rich guys also have these characteristics because it kind of goes in hand, gaining that power, right? They may be a good salesman, or they work in industries where there's also a lot of women, or they had sisters growing up, or other stuff. The one doesn't automatically lead to the other. You have to work on both. It is really important to understand this. And it's not a good idea to start with approaching or social skills, so to say, in your late 30s or 40s. If you're watching this in your late 30s and 40s, okay, you have to admit to yourself you wasted a lot of time if your social abilities are lacking, and you have to catch up. I'm on calls every week with guys who want to work with me live or online, and I am brutally honest with the guys in their 40s, 50s. I'm like, bro, don't waste your time. Like, you're not 20 anymore. You don't, guys are like, yeah, I'll think about it. I'm like, what do you have to think about? You want to die alone? And I know I sound really brutal here, but I want to wake you up. It comes from the heart. If you're in your 20s, you have more time, but it doesn't mean you can waste it with only focusing on money or, like that job title and then hoping everything else will just work out. Part 2 was when I actually attempted day game. So as I mentioned, I downloaded this audio guide, which made you go out on the street, made you approach 30 strangers a day in a different way. And this was really when, the rubber hit the road. And I realized, literally my rubber hitting the real road, going out, approaching women. And I realized, oh my God, I'm so horrible at this. I'm like incapable of giving even compliments to a 60-year-old lady how her outfit is nice.
You trying to seduce me?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Unable to say hi to a beautiful girl. I'm unable to stop strangers and put out my intentions. It was like, oh, horrible. I hated it. And I realized this cannot be a way of living life. This is not it. Even if I'm the best engineer, even if I own a company, even if I have online products that sell $1 million a year, right? Whatever industry you go to, if I don't get that skill, all of the other shit is basically worthless. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, sit alone on a beach in Thailand with my millions in the bank account? It sucks. I knew I need to find mentors, which brings me to part 3. Now, back then, YouTube was still not as dynamic as it is today, with like recommendations in the sidebar and easily, finding stuff. And there wasn't that many masculinity mentors on the internet like there is today. So, I think young men are really fortunate these days of having really big amounts of like assets and resources to look into. Of course, at the same time, there's a lot of distraction, there's a lot of bullshit, a lot of entertainment, a lot of endless TikTok loops. So if you manage to avoid the toxic stuff, there's a lot of really good stuff out there. I didn't have that much of that back then, but of course YouTube was there. I really wanted to meet James Marshall and the Natural Lifestyles team. So I applied for a workshop. That is a great way to contact the mentor in the first place. Like, pay for them. If you have the money, spend the money. Since then, I've spent literally 6 figures on mentors, on experiences, on buying myself into certain networks and social circles. So I've been using my own money all the time. Like, this is my biggest expense, is personal development to this day. So back then I had 0 money. I was 21 years old. I didn't have money. What I had was time, skills, and the ability to learn really fast and insane endurance. I didn't care if I sleep on a couch, if I spend the night in a train, and so on. So this is what I did in order to be around James and the team, and it really rubbed off, right? That was the big switch. I would say the biggest lesson in this video is you will not learn certain things by reading a book or listening to a podcast or watching a video, even if you watch the video 100 times and take the perfect notes. There is something about spending time with the people who are already good at it that within a day it just rubs off at you, something in your brain clicks, observing it in the real world, and you can then apply these lessons instantly. It pushes you over the edge. And so it was for me. Suddenly I went from the guy who couldn't even, give a compliment to a stranger on the street to me doing 5, 10, 20 approaches every day, analyzing myself, getting a little bit of feedback from the team, and just observing them, soaking everything up, editing videos, analyzing my own audios that I recorded, and taking this really serious, and over the next 4 or 5 years, really becoming very solid at manifesting beautiful women into my life out from the streets of Eastern Europe, New York, Barcelona, Australia, and so on. So if your current social circle is full of guys who don't want to do that, who are just never approaching, who don't work on their social life, who don't work on their networks, who don't work on their fitness even or anything like that, you need to get out of there, right? Maybe they're not actively discouraging you from cold approaching, but indirectly they pull you down. You need to find a tribe that supports you, that pushes you, that picks you up when you feel down, and in general who is on the same wave as you. The beautiful thing is we have the internet. We can get those people out of different countries and combine them. I have a community, it's called the Social Academy. You can click below, join this. It's a monthly subscription, cheaper than Tinder, so take that or leave it. But at the end of the day, if you don't create a network and a tribe of people that have goals aligned with yours, you have no chance. Like I say it as brutally as this, you have no chance to compete with the guys who are surrounding themselves with other powerful men. No chance. You will basically not reach your goals, you will not reach your potential, and you will not end up dating the girls you truly desire. After about 2 or 3 years, I reached a true new level, I would say. I was really in a flow with cold approach. And the main thing was I stopped caring. I truly stopped caring when a girl would reject me, right? I wouldn't take it personal anymore at all. And yeah, that did take me a while and a few hundred or if not thousands of approaches. Also had to overcome a lot of negative mindsets around it, right? I didn't want to be a pickup artist. I didn't want to be a street harasser, right? There's a lot of negative attitudes toward this thing of just you shouldn't do this is bad, you're annoying people, and none of this is true. All of these comments that you read on various social media platforms of guys who say, oh, he's doing something bad in whatever way he's writing it, none of these guys ever have seriously tried cold approach. They never had the experience of approaching 100 women and getting 97 positive reactions. The reality is, and I've been doing it for 8 years now, plus coached hundreds of guys where I listen in with a microphone, 99% of women are either positive or neutral. The 1% already had a shit day, and then you just met her while she was having a shit day.
I have to go. Bye.
You have to go. Do you have Instagram?
No, I don't.
Bye.
And I've had many occasions where I was talking to female friends because, last 2 years I've been living with girls in my apartment basically 24/7, and they said, oh my god, this guy approached me, I was really rude to him and I felt so bad for the rest of the day. I'm hearing those stories over and over again. So even when a girl is rude, she's actually feeling sorry. Why? Because she respects you so much. She doesn't want to swipe on Tinder. She doesn't want to go to a bar and get hit on by a dozen drunk guys. She loves the romance of a guy sober during the day, showing himself, presenting himself with respect, saying, hey, you look great today, I want to talk to you for 5 minutes, what's up? They love that. It took me a while to really understand this and not just read it or hear it from a guy like me on YouTube, but truly take it in. And now I'm really proud of that skill. I don't feel ashamed of it. I don't feel it's a dirty little secret or a dirty little hobby I'm doing when nobody's watching. This is great for me, and this can be amazing for you. So if you're currently in a phase where you still have those negative mindsets, I ask you to push through and keep going. You're just not at the level yet where you've done enough approaches, where you've made enough positive reference experiences, make it onto the other side, so to say. Now my life is quite different. I have to admit I don't do that many approaches anymore. So back then I might have done 5 to 10 a day when I was really active. Now I might do 3 to 5 per week if I'm in a city and I see really beautiful girls and I want to, get them not just into my bedroom these days, but into my social circle. I even do approaches when I have a monogamous relationship, because if I see a beautiful girl, I'm like, I want to have her in my social circle. I want to have her maybe as a female friend. So there's so many other benefits apart from, having cool friends. Maybe she tells me something I don't know. Maybe she's from a country that I don't know much about, and so on. So I'm still being social even when I'm in a relationship. So I'm doing way less of that, but my social life has been 100 times crazier than it was before. Again, the danger is to just say, just skip the cold approach phase and just straight go become a DJ, become a club promoter, become a CEO, buy my own nightclub, open a yoga studio. The reality is it doesn't work. If I wouldn't have all these skills from approaching 3,000 or more women, I would have no idea what I'm doing in the social circle, right? I've been traveling nonstop, especially for the last 3 or 4 years, to the party hotspots of the world: Ibiza, Mykonos in summer, Mallorca parties, Maldives luxury holidays. And I've experienced firsthand, face to face, how the plan of I would just become rich, book a table, and then get laid with hot girls doesn't work out for so many men. I've seen guys spend 100,000 euros in one day. I've seen guys spend $1 million in a week on villa, concierge service, the best cars, the best tables, the best restaurant, and end up sleeping with 1 or 2 really not that attractive girls. That's the reality, right? And they kind of like, they're now invested. It's almost like sunken cost fallacy, where they're like, well, I spent so much, I might as well tell my boys how it was a crazy week in Mykonos and Ibiza was wild, it was a movie.
Bro, last night was a movie.
So the next time you hear a guy say anything was a movie, it probably wasn't a movie. So I've just seen it firsthand. And because they lack the experience, they just don't know how to properly seduce a girl, how to really keep her in check and create the right frame around them and so on. They're just purely relying on their money because they learned over the years every problem is a money problem. But at the end of the day, getting laid, except you hire a prostitute, is not a money problem. Like a good entrepreneur, over the years, I've collected a few income streams, not just financially, but also with girls, right? I've met plenty of girls of street approach. I met plenty of girls of Tinder. I met plenty of girls of social circles and so on, traveling, other stuff. You should have the same goal, right? I'm not telling you learn cold approach and it's the only thing, and when you're 50 years old you still have to run up and down the street. No, but it's the base for everything. Imagine it like a pyramid and you working on the base level. Super important. And if you don't know where to start, hire a coach, right? Book a call with me or my team. We can talk about it. We can really go into depth of what are you currently working with, what country you're in, what location you're in, which type of women you actually want in your life. Because maybe you don't want the women I am currently having, or you have your own vision of what a high value woman is, and that's great. We want to help you get the dating life you really desire and help you over, your mental blocks, especially because this is also what it often starts with. I hope this inspired you. If you want to share any questions or experiences yourself, click below and I'll see you in the next video.